Well, good afternoon, everybody. I'm Deb Sofield, and you're listening to my weekly podcast series called Encouragement for Your Life. Most of you know I'm a national speaker, trainer, and coach. I like to say I help people find their voice and learn to use it. I'm also a conference speaker on the topics of public speaking, presentation skills, how to deal with the media, and crisis communication. I've got a number of other presentations on my website if you'd like to check those out. If your organization has an upcoming conference and you need a keynote speaker, I hope you'll reach out at debsofield.com. I would love to be a part. I've got a number of great books on the market. My best-selling book, Speak Without Fear. My book, Perfecting Your Platform. Both of those are on Amazon and Audible if you like to listen to books. And my series, Encouragement for Your Life, which is a compilation of these podcasts, they're available on Amazon, volumes 1 through 3. Just go into Amazon, type in my name, Deb Sofield, all my books will appear. I've got an interesting show today, and I'm calling it Outside of the Box. I'm Deb Sofield. Thanks for joining me. Stay tuned. I'll be right back after the break. I was reading an article online last week, and I came across an interesting job interview question for one of my clients that dealt with thinking outside of the box. I know you've heard that phrase over and over, so it's not new, but I wonder why so many seem to stay in their boxes instead of moving forward, sideward, upward, or any way in life. Is it because we are so comfortable in the rut of sameness? Or have they ground their wheels so deep in the mud they really can't get out and go anywhere interesting? I'm sure you're familiar with the famous quote by Einstein, who said, "If you do what you always did, you'll get what you always got." This concept is not rocket science, but it does seem to be a bit out of reach for most people who prefer to play it safe in their small world filled with small things that feed their small minds instead of stretching beyond their comfort zone to the point of wide open pain and abandon and then maybe success. It's worth a shot, isn't it? Undoubtedly, some of our most inquisitive entrepreneurs have the ability to see beyond the current space and darkness and have the optimistic strength of confidence to reach, to find a sliver of light and create their own achievements. Have to admit, I'm a fan of inquisitive entrepreneurs who do out-of-the-box things and spend time on out-of-the-box thinking. And I find their stories inspiring, so much so that I've tried to mimic them in my work and hobbies, to go where no woman has gone before and do what no woman should probably do safely. And as I tell my friends and family, at this age, in this uncertain life, if I'm going to go, I'm going big, and I'm going to enjoy the ride, because I can't think of no good reason not to try, to see, explore, and discover. And I'll add that by living outside my box, I've got stories and memories to last a lifetime. And I'm still not done. So I have to ask, how about you? Yes, I know you have responsibilities, but I'm also guessing that you are comfortable in your structured life because, well, it's easy. And while that's fine for some, it's not for the rest of you. I have a number of blogs where I always talk about you've got to be careful that you don't get tired and bored and become lonely. And if you're not careful, that's what happens. And friend, whatever's holding you back, sometimes you've got to understand that holding on does more damage than letting go. Unfortunately, I believe that most people don't trust themselves or are not willing to do the work or take a favorable chance to create the dream they talk about. The truth is that type of confidence requires you to tear down the box. It's an unusual and it's a rare thought in today's structured, safe, and comfortable world. But you can do it. You know, one person who I find has seemed to be willing to do the work and take the risk, like him or not, is Elon Musk. I have to say, I love to watch what he's been up to because I find him to be of an unusual intellect for today's common man. And frankly, I'm fascinated by the abandon in which he rushes into projects to win or fail fast before he moves on to the next big idea. I read an article in New York Times about Musk's ex-wife, Justine Musk, who talked about his drive, intellect, and curiosity that has made him who he is today. When a writer wrote in on Quora, a user-generated question and answer website, they posed the question, how can I be as great as Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, Elon Musk, Richard Branson? And an unlikely individual, Miss Musk, responded, quietly offering some telling insight. She boiled down the one ingredient for extreme success, and she says this, be obsessed, be obsessed, be obsessed. Now, she wasn't being critical. Extreme people combine brilliance and talent with an insane work ethic, she wrote. So if the work itself doesn't drive you, you'll burn out or fall by the wayside, or your extreme competitors will crush you and make you cry. Be obsessed. I'm not sure I know many people who are obsessed with anything. We seem to be happy in our little sandbox. Some even pull the lid down on their box so they can cocoon instead of molting and flying away to see new sights, do new things, and experience life in all its glorious, messy, breathtaking fullness. Yeah. Friend, here's the point. Do something. Okay, so I want to stick with the idea of thinking outside the box to be the level that will help you realize that you have choices in life, and that is a great gift of free will, but you've got to do something to make something happen. Otherwise, tomorrow will look like today, and the next day and the next. Earlier this week, I was working on some interview questions for a client, and I came across this story. It might be known to some of my listeners. For those of you who have not seen or read this exchange, I invite you to take a look and then see the answer or hear the answer at the end. This was an answer that supposedly landed a guy a job out of 200 applicants. The question is also posed in the movie 16 Blocks, featuring Bruce Willis. And it really is the ultimate thinking outside the box question. Okay, so here it goes. I know it's a little hard as you're listening, but the job interview question about 3 people at a bus stop. Here's the setup. You're driving down the road in your car on a wild and stormy night. The weather is like a hurricane. Heavy rains, high winds, lightning flashing constantly. While driving, you come across a partially covered bus stop, and you can see 3 people waiting for a bus. An older woman who looks like she's about to die, an old friend who once saved your life, the perfect partner you've been dreaming about, or your soulmate. Knowing that you only have room for 1 passenger in your car, it's a really small car, which one would you choose to offer a ride to? And then why? The discussion was this. You can pick up the old woman because she's about to die, and thus you should save her first. Or you can take the old friend because he once saved your life. And this would be the perfect chance to pay your friend back. However, you may never be able to find your soulmate again. So here's how they came up with an answer. And I love this answer. I would give the car keys to my old friend and let him take the old woman to the hospital. Then I would stay behind and wait for the bus with the partner of my dreams. Ha! I love that. And honestly, I didn't think about that great answer that was given. I was going to take the lady to the hospital, tell my friend good to see you, ask my soulmate to wait. It reminded me that I need to think outside the box myself to see what the options are that, in this case, made everyone healthy, safe, and happy. So today, as you go through your routine, pinch a few minutes to think about what adventure or product or hobby you really want to do and write it down. Yes, you have to write it down. And then begin the process of thinking outside the box you currently live in to either find a new way or to become new or to dust off the inquisitive entrepreneur you once were and begin again on your new path for a glorious, messy, breathtaking adventure. I'm sure I'll see you on the path. And when we meet, please tell me about your struggle and your bright light moment of clarity. And then show me your treasure map for what I know will be a rewarding life. Ah, friend, you gotta think outside the box. I'm so glad you joined me today. You've been listening to Deb Sofield's Encouragement for Your Life, and I hope you'll join me next week. I've got another great show for you. And remember, Deb doesn't care what the world says about you. I want you to know I care about you, and I care about you because I believe you can do big things, But you got to get outside your box. You've got to get outside your comfort zone and trust that the path will show itself once you take the first step. And here's my promise. If you'll take that step, I will walk alongside you as we follow your dream together. All right, thanks for joining me, everybody. I hope you'll join me next week. Take care.